talk a little bit about silk and maybe a little bit about fashion design too. These are silk ties. Anyway, in order to educate you a little bit about silk, um, one, it was, I guess it was around the 40s, before my time, where they banned silk stockings. Those were like a serious luxury. They didn't ban you from wearing them, but there was no way to get the silk. And that may have been from, I'm guessing, World War II, possibly. I don't know. I don't remember. But anyway, and I was a big history fan. But anyway, so then they went to like nylon for instead of silk stockings, they made nylon stockings, which were more like socks. And my grandmother wore those actually. And they were kind of funny. But anyway, on my dad's side. And then rayon was one of the greatest things when silk went out. And I used to go buy uh, dresses at secondhand stores that were really old, and I could get them fairly cheap in rayon. And man, what a great fabric! I would hand wash it, hang it to dry, shoot some starch on it, and press it. And it was the neatest thing to wear. In they were usually the dresses were usually like below the knee, but not floor length. And they were just beautiful with a good set of stilettos. Anyway, so I quite like that. I really love fabrics. But in high school, let's see, I did my first fashion show at 15. I was awarded keys to the sewing room by my teacher, Ms. Bailey, because I would sew on all my lunches and all my breaks. She gave me the keys, so I go up there and just go by myself and sew, and then sew after school and stuff like that. Or if I got real early before school, yes, sewing fiend, because I didn't have a sewing machine at home. I was 15. Um, and she ended up giving me a sewing machine that was pretty cool too. Even though we had the money for one, my dad definitely had the money for one. Um, and but I guess he never thought to get one. But so I was very privileged, and she gifted me one. My dad and I went over there to go pick it up. It was pretty cool. Um, Pretty cool. And I had that machine for years and years and years. Um, Gosh, even back when I was with Ronald, I had that machine. But he was drunk one day, picked it up, threw it across the room. Yeah, that was real fun. Anyway, and I still had it after that. I can't remember if I got it fixed or not. But anyway, it's a big metal heavy machine. But um, I was asked to do some prom gowns. And back then, prom gowns were like, well, they weren't like Cinderella. They were kind of like, I don't know. In California, I mean, it was like floor length, cottons, in weird natural colors or peach or avocado. I mean, I had one that my dad bought me, and I didn't get to go to the prom. And it was a cotton green thing with like butterfly sleeves or something, a square neck. And then the shoes were like kind of a stacky heel looking thing, or a little bit chunky heel, not too chunky. Um and I remember I had some that were kind of like Mary Jane's that were like 2.5 inch high heels, and my dad and I went round and round about those heels. And I'm like, look, they're only about the size of a nail polish bottle. And thank you for the thumbs up. And he finally let me get them, which were totally against his wishes. But it was really crappy because they were brown. He liked brown, and the gown was green. Um, but I liked them because they were ladylike looking. You know, I wore Mary Janes to most of junior high and high school, and everybody else wasn't wearing that. And I looked like the little rich princess. Made most all my clothes. Um, and then I would save my lunch monies and stuff, because I got to be kind of a little fat girl when I lived with my daddy. And so I saved my lunch monies and stuff so that I could buy clothes or fabric. Yeah, and so I had nice clothes because my dad wouldn't spend money on clothes. And so anyway, hey Joyce, how you doing? So anyway, I was contracted to do a prom gown for a girl, and I said I've got great idea. How about this? Da 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 da. Da. And she's like, go for it. I got money. And so anyway, sorry, my sister took my phone. Anyway, uh, uh, I knew where I could get really outstanding fabrics at the Tala building in downtown LA, Textiles Association of Los Angeles. Cool. Anyway, so thank you so much. So anyway, um, it takes like 2 or 3 buses to go down there. Back then, it was Santa Monica Bus Lines, 25 cents, and I think like 10 cents for the transfer ticket to go to the next bus, whatever. Downtown LA was a big major deal, whether you drove a car or you took a bus. Trust me, creepy, creepy place. But it was like going to New York. It was where you got everything. If you're looking for, long gloves, you got them there. If you're looking for a certain kind of heels, you got them there. If you're looking for a special kind of cocktail gown, you got it there. If you're looking for suits or tuxes, you got it there. Everything was downtown LA. Really dangerous place. Really creepy at night. And but creepy in the day too. You got good prices. Um, I would say, the best thing to do is not take a car down there. Um, I did that once and paid $20 parking, and they steal your rims and tires while you're shopping. Yeah, bad place. It's all LA County is a dive, and it's like the jail and a bunch of warehouses. Now they're actually putting apartments down there and charging people thousands of dollars to live in that dump, and they're proud of it. You know what I mean? Ugh, I would never live in downtown LA. That was going to be my fate before I left California. Was I was going to move to downtown LA because it was the cheapest rent, but you can't own a car because there's no parking, and it's a dangerous place. And I'm glad I didn't do it. Um, so anyway, I went down to the Tala building and I got samples of silk because I want to make this really outstanding, better than anybody else gown. And this girl was, pretty hip. She was going for whatever I could come up with. She wanted to look her best, and she just cut me loose on this deal. And so I went up there and I got samples, and I'm thinking they were all free, or maybe 50 cents each or something. And they were like 1 foot samples of silk. And I got all the different prints, everything, and got all that stuff. Got back on the bus, went back. I went and I bought a leotard thing, 1 piece jobber that looks like a 1 piece bathing suit today. Uh, and in a real nice black, like a thick spandex lycra pearly fabric, gathered in the front at the bodice, and then the little thin spaghetti straps. And so then I began to put all these squares of silk on this, little suit. And I sewed them all around so they'd be dangling like diamonds. And just on the corners. I just sewed them on the corners. And so that way, when she'd spin around on the dance floor, it would be like being in flight, okay? And then it would kind of drop down, that Marilyn Monroe effect, I guess. And I just thought that would be so cool. And it would be like see-through, but not see-through. You know what I mean? Because in effect, she'd be wearing 1 piece, right? So I did that, and it came out wonderful. She paid me $150 for that. And I was proud of it. I did a couple more gowns after that. I really didn't have a big interest in that, much less wedding gowns, although I've done about 3 wedding gowns in my life. I really don't care for them. I did them for people that did a lot of business with me. And so that's the only time I did them. And boy, would they big jobs. And yes, they paid for it because I don't like doing them. always get paid for what you do. You know what I mean? So anyway, I know quite a bit about fabrics. I have my first college degree at UCLA was fashion design and merchandising, and I learned a lot. I was even offered a job at Jag Jeans in downtown LA. One, I don't like downtown LA, and two, I had no interest in designing jeans. I mean, jeans could just go so far. So anyway, I know a little bit about fabrics. Okay. I've been working them for years. I learned a lot from my mother. She sewed. She's an incredible sewer. And so, anyway, I'm here to tell you about ties in silk clothing. And so, this is an important thing. A lot of people will take ties and they'll wash them. I've seen these YouTube videos where people put it in a washer and they roll it up in a little thing and put it in baby socks. You can't do that to silk. It does not like being handled a lot. It does not like chemical. It doesn't like being beat up in a washer. Silk is a delicate. I personally love silk. And silk is a good thing to wear because it's kind of like antimicrobial. And I imagine that's why they wear it in India. Too, like the old Miami Vice. They had, the white suits and they had, silk shirts and all that stuff. And a lot of the reason for the silk is because of the heat. Silk clothing is great. It's like wearing pajamas in public, you know, and most all of my blouses are made out of silk. Unfortunately, they were recently auctioned off, but I've always picked up any silk blouse that I've noticed, especially in secondhand stores, because I know how to take care of them, and I love the way they look, and they're great for summer. So they keep you very, very cool. But you got to know how to take care of them. You can't spray perfume on them or colognes because the alcohol will eat the silk up. It will literally like crack it up. It ruins it. So you can't spray your perfumes and colognes directly on the silk. Two, it doesn't like soap. Really, it doesn't. It tends to coat the fibers of the silk, which are very fine fibers. They're made from the silkworm. And they're shiny until you do stuff to them. So if you use soap or you use a rinse or those little smelling salts like this stuff that you buy, they hate it. They absolutely hate it. You can use a little Lysol if you want to get some of the old grandpa smell out. But it's really hard on it. You got to be careful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Noah. You rock. And honestly, the best way to deal with silk, if you can avoid using any soap on them at all, you could use woolite if you can locate it sometimes at Walmart. And just use very little of it because your next problem is trying to get the soap out of it because it adheres to those fibers. And what it'll do is it'll make it look dull. So you have like this. This is supposed to be real shiny. And this is because someone has washed it some way or another. I've already washed it twice, but it's still not totally right. It only has a little sheen to it. But that's because of the way it was treated. Dry cleaners have a special way of doing it. They literally put it in a machine with water. The silk does hate water. It stains, so you have to get the whole thing wet all at once. You can't just wipe on it because you have a water mark. It has to be wet all at once and dried all at once. And then the dry cleaners will actually tumble it around in a dryer. But silk doesn't like heat at all as far as irons, clothing irons for pressing and hot dryers. Can't do it. Got to hang it to dry. You can put a fan on it, but you want to try to keep the heat off of it. This silk, see the shine in this versus that other? See where it's kind of flat? They're both 100% silk, Okay, and none of these are lined with wool. Wool is another problem. Wool will shrink. If you put heat on it, it will shrink. It's horrible. I had an Angora top I put in the washer one time when I was a kid, and it came out like for a 3-year-old. They don't do well. They got to be hand washed, cold water. will like, you know what I mean? But anyway, so this is the shine of silk. It's natural. Okay, when they dye it, it's going to come out shiny like that. And so that's what you're out for, is to try to keep that shine in there. This one has absorbed some of the soap. It's not totally out, so it's lost a touch of its shine. This one has lost just a touch of the shine, but see, it's got some stains. Let's see if the stains had some yellow stuff in there. There's one like here, right here, and the other one, nope, the other one's still here and here. This may be paint, when someone painted a house or something. So it's you know, it's problematic. You have to be careful with it. The best option, well, hey Jared, how are you? Good to see you. The best option is cold water, and something like a mixing bowl or a pot, bucket, cold water, and 1/3 white vinegar. Okay, plain white vinegar, and the rest cold water. Fill it up and soak it 5 minutes. Whether it's a garment, a tie, whatever your silk item may be, you know, scarf, whatever it is, and then soak it for 5 minutes, and then rinse it. Don't wring it out. Don't do anything weird to it. Hold it like a wet piece of lasagna, and rinse it under the shower or the kitchen sink. Rinse it back and forth, and basically till you get the vinegar smell out of it. It should have vinegar smell in your liquid when you're washing it, okay? But just 5 minutes, okay? Because vinegar is corrosive and it's highly acidic. So then you will hang it to dry, whatever your item is. And the shine will come back, especially if you've damaged one. But that's the best way to do it. I see a lot of these eBay sellers that will sell ties, and it's always got a stain in it. Be $100 tie, a used tie, $100 tie, and have a stain in it, and they're selling it for $100. Why? eBay has a rule: you're supposed to sell clothes that are clean. You know, some people sell defective items, might have a hole in it, maybe a permanent stain, something. But all in all, you're supposed to have a clean item. I don't like to fool with stuff like that because I don't like defective stuff. It's just too much problem. The customer didn't see it, didn't know it, didn't read the ad, didn't look at the pictures, on and on and on. I like to sell something good. So anyway, that's what silk's all about. Great fabric. The dye lots are just fantastic. Yes, the Orient is wonderful in what they do. And in India, fabulous, fabulous stuff. And if anybody can get a hold of a Kawara Salmi, I need one, because mine was stolen. That was made for me from my friend Raj from the Taj Mahal, that I went to beauty college with. She gave me one of her suits that she used to wear every day that her auntie made in India. She used to send all these suits to her every month. And I was in love with them. And she said, everybody makes fun of me. I said, oh, no, that is so beautiful. And she wore the high heels with it, the genie pants, you know, and the long dress thing with slits up the side. Oh, I love that sucker. Yes, salwar kameez. I need another suit. Anyway, so there you have it. That's the real deal. Don't wad it up, stuff it in a baby sock, stick it in the washer. You know, don't scrub on it. Don't wring it out. It'll be fine. Just some vinegar and water and rinse. Hang it to dry, and we're all good. All right, you guys, I hope you have a great one. Thanks for joining me today, and we will see you in the next one. I love you. Be kind to a stranger. Love everybody. And too much of a good thing is wonderful, and we'll just take a whole bunch of that. Love you.